Am I the only one that finds these things kind of cute? Look at their little legs.
I gotta do hell yeah, look at
Dude,
that.
drop the f***ing pig. Leave my bacon
It's
alone.
fine now.
Come back.
I'm yoinking this pig.
Wait. What? Did this run? Hello and welcome. My name is Eric and my channel's content mainly consists of the popular MMORPG Runescape. I have tried a handful of MMOs over the years, but I never really gave some of them a proper chance, including the well-known and well-established World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is a buy-to-play MMORPG developed by Blizzard Entertainment that was published back in 2004. Thanks to a very generous friend named Skilly, I had the opportunity to play WoW for a month with all expansions. The initial plan was to try out Shadowlands as a RuneScape player, but because that has been delayed to 2021, I will give you guys the first impressions as a RuneScape player of, I believe, what they call the pre-patch. Anyways, when you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. So the first thing I did was check out the character creation just before the Shadowlands pre-patch to see if anything would change. The first thing I noticed was the enormous amount of different races between the Alliance and Horde, and then you have 12 different classes. So the thing I could see straight from the get-go is that there's a lot of class variety and you wouldn't be getting bored anytime soon. But even in the Shadowlands pre-patch, I will have to say that the options you get to customize your character itself are lackluster. They are better now in the Shadowlands pre-patch, there are more options, but in comparison to games like Black Desert Online, I don't think it's very impressive. That being said, RuneScape's character creation screen is just as lackluster, if not worse. I'm not saying this is a bad thing, I'm just saying it came to my attention. So after having created my level 1 Warlock, it was time to start playing the game. Straight from the get-go, I realized that this tutorial was well thought out and it actually teaches players that may have never played an MMORPG ever how to play an MMORPG. Of course, for me, as someone who's played RuneScape and tried out a bunch of other MMOs, most of the things that were taught to me in the game were extremely obvious, like attacking, moving around, and so on. But if you have never played an MMORPG before, or something similar like The Witcher or Far Cry game, this could be or feel very foreign to you as a new player. I also really appreciated the highlights of certain things on your HUD or interface. For example, the minimap or when you need to equip your first bit of better gear. Things like this should be in RuneScape as well, and I was glad to see it in World of Warcraft. RuneScape does have something like that with an arrow pointing to a certain item on your interface during the tutorial island, but it's not as good as World of Warcraft's highlight thing, where they actually show you how to drag things or where it goes when you do equip it. And I think this is a good thing because it helps newer players, even experienced MMORPG players, get used to the interface rather quickly. Some things I really liked are the cutscenes, the humor, and the funny little missions in the tutorial or the starting quests of the game. For example, turning a wild pig into a massive pig, and sometimes it did fail, which might not have been very ethical, but once you do make it big, you go right on its back and you pretty much charge through a bunch of enemies. And honestly, it's kind of humorous that that's actually a quest in this game. I did appreciate it, for sure. So yeah, the new player experience, the variety, the quests, it's getting a big thumbs up from me because I assume it's way better than before. Really, it's fairly good. It's a good tutorial, it teaches you about the game, there are cutscenes, funny moments, great stuff. Very positive about WoW so far. One thing I do have to mention though is why do some of these harpies have to make such questionable noises when dying?
Just a nibble.
So at level 10 in the campaign, or if you're leveling up to level 50, which is now the max level, I think they reduced it from level 120 down to 150, and everything scales now, which is also good. You get to choose a specialization. You have 3 choices per class, and basically what this is a special tech tree you're going to focus on. For example, with my Warlock, Demonology, which is having a bunch of summons and stuff. Later down the line, I did switch to a different class, which you'll be seeing soon, which is a Hunter, because I just couldn't stand using this class for leveling, the channeled abilities were really annoying because I'm used to instant abilities in RuneScape and other MMOs. Every time I moved just the slightest amount, I would cancel out my channeled abilities, and positioning was important, and just, nah, not for me. Can we just take a moment to appreciate these cutscenes? It really feels like you're watching a movie. At the start of the game, these are really enjoyable to watch. Just great stuff. I mean, World of Warcraft does have some very nice ads and cutscenes and cinematics, and the movie Warcraft is really well done as well. I love that movie, but just look at this.
Not blame the Alliance for my actions.
So you admit it.
Now, as for WoW's leveling process, it's really generic. It's kill this, do that, escort this NPC, talk to that NPC, equip this item, use that item. Most of the quests will be your generic MMORPG quests to level, but what's better now is that it can take you around 15 to 20 hours to get to level 50, opposed to what used to be 3 times longer or more according to my friends. Even though that was the case, I decided to use my character boost as soon as I found a class I liked, being the Hunter class. I was boosted to level 48, I got a mini tutorial of some of the abilities, I did a few quests, talked to a few NPCs, and then I was ready to go, hopped into dungeons, became level 50, and I was ready to start doing the fun stuff. Now, to be honest, I had already been doing some fun things like dungeons on the Warlock to get a feel for them. They were actually a very good experience as well. And I was attacked by a pack of angry pufferfish, probably looking to find some carrots. Look at them, dude. Ugh. They should make that noise. Okay, so what makes World of Warcraft fun, and why did I want to get to the highest level so quickly? Well, I wanted to understand the appeal of the combat system at the higher levels, being dungeons, raids, and battlegrounds or PvP. And I was not disappointed. Dungeons with friends are extremely fun, especially if you're coordinating things, even at normal difficulty, where apparently the mechanics are very, very easy indeed. The amount of dungeons there are in World of Warcraft is insane. You have so many different dungeons with different themes, different monsters, different bosses. Apparently a bunch of them also have different mechanics. There's tactics to killing bosses in both raids and dungeons, meaning it's just like RuneScape in terms of endgame PvE content. There's a lot to learn, there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of fun in doing it. And the weird thing is, these dungeons don't even feel that dated. Some of them were apparently older, and really, I just now fully understand the appeal of World of Warcraft. The appeal isn't in just doing these dungeons, which on their own are quite fun. You also get gear, you can get transmogs, pets, mounts. There's a lot of stuff to collect, and if you're one of those completionist type players that, for example, want to do all of the achievements in RuneScape, getting all kinds of mounts in this game can be a lot of fun, or as the hunter, getting every single monster tamed as your pet summon. I quickly realized this was a big, big game, just like RuneScape, with tons upon tons of content in the game. And, you know, what I did was try out the leveling system, try out some characters, see how the questing and leveling system was. Then I moved to getting a high level character, got into dungeons to see what it was all about, and it became clear to me that this is literally one of those games that the game really only begins once you're max level. Gear farming, mount farming, pet farming, and so on, that's the fun stuff. And there isn't just PvE content, which by itself is something you can just focus on. There's also PvP content, which I did do to get myself a cool transmog, being this bow. It cost me 5 marks of honor, which you gain from winning PvP matches, either arena, battlegrounds, whatever it may be. Even though I'm a complete noob, I had a bunch of fun just playing PvP. It's you have domination, you have capture the flag, you have mine this kind of ore thing. You have a bunch of different game modes and maps, and it's really fun. It really is fun, even if I'm not doing a lot of damage, because I have heard it's really gear based. Of course, also skill based, but gear is very important in PvP apparently. Which is, the case in most MMORPGs, but I could and still can contribute to playing PvP. I can stun people using my fat frog pets, which I have 2 of. Very glad I have those. They're extremely funny. I can support people. I can debuff people. I can mark people. I can shoot out flares. You know, I might not be the best player, and I might have completely trash gear, but it's not like I'm completely useless, which is good. And probably, I'm going to have a bunch of comments saying, oh, why are you playing Hunt like this? Why are you using this ability before that one? Guys, keep in mind, I've only been playing the game like 15 hours in total or something. And yeah, I might have been one-shot, or I might have been ganked, or completely destroyed over and over again, but I didn't care. I was enjoying the game mode. I was enjoying experiencing maps for the first time, playing with different random players. And Battlegrounds is that large-scale PvP that I miss in RuneScape. And honestly, I'd say that's quite easy to get into as well. And if you want to do 1v1, 2v2s or 3v3s, you can do that, but I would prefer the larger scale PvP because I am less significant in terms of contributing to my team. So it's like a 2v2, I'm going to be losing pretty much every single time, right? The only thing I haven't really done is raids, which I will be doing, and judging by the footage, I'm going to have a lot of fun, and I really just wanted to make this video in advance because I can really appreciate World of Warcraft for what it is. So let's talk about the pros and cons. First of all, the pros. You have a free starter mount on level 10 and you also get a flying mount on level 30. It's less grindy than before, according to existing players, which is a good thing. There's a bunch of class variety with all of those races, 12 different classes, and 3 specializations per class. The game is alive and kicking. This is extremely obvious if you look at Twitch numbers, Asmongold for example, or just look in-game when you start off. There's a bunch of other new players or people training alt accounts around you. There's a good tutorial, which is very important for new players. The combat is fun as long as you're not playing Warlock with those channeled abilities, which are kind of yikes, at least in my opinion. But the rest of the classes, I'm sure there's a lot of fun things to do. It can get very complex, especially if you're doing Mythic Plus dungeons or something. There's a PvP endgame, there's a PvE endgame, and both are available in large scale with a bunch of players. The PvE variety is great as well, not just when leveling, but also at the end of game. And the game, surprisingly, despite its age, looks quite alright. Sure, it might not be Black Desert Online, but it looks fine, it works, just like RuneScape's graphics. So the cons of World of Warcraft. Well, I didn't really find too many and I was surprised. It's not buggy. I had one crash during a cutscene, that was it. Like a error or something. It's quite well polished, really. One thing that really annoyed me was navigating around the first town because you had this yellow diamond thing on your map or on your screen, and really it was quite hard to navigate the town. Maybe it's just the levels or the layout. I just didn't like it myself. Just my opinion. Also, it's still an MMORPG, so it's going to be grindy no matter what, even if the new play experience is better. It's also a very expensive MMORPG compared to other MMOs. Per month, it will set you back $15, which is really expensive for an MMORPG, I think, per month. But you can also buy membership with in-game gold, if I'm correct, so that's a good thing, just like with RuneScape and Bonds. Now, there's also a bunch of DLC you have to buy if you want to get full access to the entirety of the game and all areas. I don't really understand why MMORPGs do this while also being buy to play. RuneScape gives you access to everything in game if you pay a monthly subscription. WoW does not. So you're paying more per month than RuneScape as a comparison, and you still have to buy DLC, for example Shadowlands, if you want to get into that part of the game. That's bad. I don't like that at all. You can't trade with people from other realms, which is really annoying if your friends want to give you a pet. I think they did this to counter gold farming or gold selling. I'm not entirely sure, but it just, of course, I'm going to just put this here as a con because I wanted a frog pet. And the last thing is very, very long queue times. I did actually try to get in a raid myself as DPS, and I know if you're DPS, you won't really get into raids that quickly because you'd be faster being a tank or a healer because there's less tanks and healers, just like in the Elder Scrolls Online. But even with a healer and a tank in my party, it would sometimes take quite long to do dungeons. That might have to do with the age, or just the matchmaking system, or the fact that, I actually don't really know, but the queue times can be very, very long. And overall, as a RuneScape player, I can definitely see the appeal of World of Warcraft. If I would have played this as a kid when I was younger, I would see no reason to play RuneScape over World of Warcraft. Just like people who play RuneScape have no reason to play World of Warcraft. However, I will say if you like large-scale PvE content, actual raids compared to RuneScape's raids, which are pretty much just large group bosses, World of Warcraft is the game to play. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it interesting. If you did, leave a like down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.